what are the type of things you should prepare yourself with, for, because there is so much more to it and people don't really know, and sometimes when we jump into this strategy, it's an amazing strategy, but I think it's even better if you prepare yourself, and you know then what to expect. Because see, I wasn't prepared when I started Rent to Rent. By the time I got my first property, I had almost lost my hope, and I thought, and then all of a sudden I had to get things ready. So, I just thought I'm going to talk about it a little bit, because people sometimes they live in illusion. There is so much hype about the whole strategy, or there is so many myths as well. So really, really important that, we actually understand how this strategy. Thank you, Shirley Ann. Thank you. You're really cheering me. Thank you. See, I would have missed on all that if I wasn't going to do my live today. So definitely, it's well worth it, 100%. So definitely. So basically, I wanted to talk about those things with you. I wanted to tell you what are the things that we need to, prepare ourselves, or we should be preparing. It's an amazing strategy, but let's talk about some real pointers. Let's talk about few things that people don't normally talk about, and I think those are the things you will really come across those, because I see that over and over again in my group. So very, very first thing, when you have, number one, that you really need to remember, because we live in a real world and we're going to do this strategy. It's not a fantasy. It's just it has its ups and it has its downs as well. So you need to know, where do I stand with it? What do I need to really do for it? So first thing first, okay, people go to different seminars, read different books, and they fantasize about getting into property and doing different strategies and making lots and lots of money and leaving this legacy behind for their family. That's all well and good, but what we really need to know, that where do we stand? We need to really evaluate. So very first thing, what we really need to do, that we need to evaluate our own position. We need to know that, out of so many strategies, within property, you can do buy to let, you can do rent to rent, then within rent to rent, you can do rent to rent HMO, rent to rent service accommodation, lease option, buy to let, or so many other things, sourcing even. So people need to think about, they need to evaluate their own situation. They need to think about whether are they money rich or are they time rich. That's very important. And another thing, whether you have a job, you have a part-time job, if you have any, requirements where you're caring for your family or your children, you need to be very realistic about it, that, okay, out of so many strategies, which one actually will suit me best? People just see other people's journey, and they hear about other people's success story and they fall for it. That's what I find. You go to these boot camps, you read these really hyped up stories, and then you want to do those things. But the problem is, you never really evaluate your own situation. I'm not saying that people who are in full-time job, they can't do it. Of course, I started like this. Many people in my group, they have got full-time job and they've started rent to rent. So this is 100% possible. But if you are very realistic with yourself and don't think that it's a passive source of income, and you will never need to, spend or anything like that. Sometimes this is how this whole strategy has been advertised, where people say, oh, it's a passive source of income. You get your property and you're going to make money, and that cash flow starts pouring in. Okay, that happens, but that happens after a certain stage, when you reach a certain stage in your business. But before all that, you really need to put some time into it. You need to really put some effort into it as well. So you need to think about that, do I have enough money, or is this the right strategy for me, or am I better off doing buy to let? So you need to think about, okay, if I've got time, how am I going to utilize this time for my rent to rent strategy? So first of all, you need to be very, very honest with yourself, and you need to then think about, okay, if I've got a full-time job, how am I going to work around my job, and how will I actually, start this business, and and how much time do I really need to devote to this business? So these are some of the things you really need to think about in advance. I'm not saying it's not possible. Like I said, many people doing it. And in fact, if anything, what I find that, even with myself as well, when I was working full time and I started this, I was so focused and I was so organized. I would set up my alarm. I would wake, I would do my searches, and I would do whatever I needed to do extra. I would ring around. So I had very, very focused approach. And if you think you can do it, then obviously it's possible, but be realistic to yourself. Look at your own position. Very, very important. So that's your number one point. If one strategy is suiting other person, doesn't necessarily means that it's going to suit you as well. So never compare yourself with other people in that way. You are a totally different person. Your aspirations are different. Your commitments are different. Your work situation is different. Your rota is different. So, you need to think very realistically, because otherwise it's not going to last very long. Very soon you will, you'll grow out of that infatuation that you have for that strategy, for whichever strategy you pick. So very important that you evaluate and you think creatively, okay, where am I going to get this time from to put into my strategy, So make sure you do that. That's number one. Number two, really, really important. Many people don't talk about it. That is, which I think people should really think about before they get into rent-to-rent is, okay, what is my credit file like? Do I have any issues with my credit history, or do I have any problem? Am I going to have problem passing my references? Because people don't talk about, that when you get your first rent-to-rent deal, especially, really need to prove your affordability. You need to go through this reference check, and sometimes affordability, you may even need to provide a guarantor. Now, many people may not have, a guarantor. Many people may have with their credit file. Now, what they need to then think about, okay, this is the situation. Is there any way around it? Can I still start my rent-to-rent business? But at least be very honest with yourself, and then you can choose right strategy to move further in it. It's very, very important, because I sometimes find people are, when they get into it, they're very naive and they think, even I didn't know that, it just luckily I didn't have any issues at that time to pass my reference. But if I'm now think back, it can be very challenging and very demoralizing if you've already set your mind up that you want to get into it, and then later on, after so much effort, you found your first property, and then you realize that your own credit file or your references aren't really good enough, or you haven't got a guarantor in place. How you're going to make a start. So you need to be very honest with yourself, and you need to think about, your own credit file. You need to think about your own credit history. You need to think about, do I have a guarantor? How am I going to arrange it? Do I have anybody? Do I need to talk to someone and get them ready to do my references? It's like, for example, I know many people, when they start this type of business, they don't want to tell their manager, if they've got a job, they don't want to tell them that they're going to do something like this. But my situation was different. I was very honest, and I could tell my manager, about my strategy. This is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm planning to do. So I already got her on board, because I knew that if I'll need to pass my reference, I'll need her support. I'll need her to write really, give good reference for me. So I prepared myself for that, and I knew that, okay, if I need to pass my reference otherwise, or my credit, that's fine. But sometime if you are not really prepared for all these things, then it can really put you off. And when you're hitting any difficulty, then, it just makes makes it a little bit extra difficult for you. So it's always a good idea when you're thinking of starting this strategy, because this happens all the time. Whenever you are going for your first property, unless you're very lucky and landlord isn't bothered about your, reference checks or anything like that, then the chances are that you will need all that. So check your credit history, and if it's not looking great, then look for alternative ways. Okay, I want to still start this rent to rent, but how do I do it? So you need to make sure that you are then looking for alternative solutions. You're looking for ways, how you're going to work around it. Now there are ways, you can work around it, obviously, but at least you start looking for solution. You're not just saying, oh, I can't do it, but you will start thinking, how can I do it? Yeah. So be very honest with yourself and prepare yourself, or work towards working, sorting out your credit file as well. So start improving it, because it will help you enormously. Definitely very, very important. Obviously, you can, like I said, you can get your deals maybe direct from landlord who's not bothered, but just in case, or maybe you can get it from a sourcer, but then you need to know whether that sourcer is giving you a genuine deal or not. Just because he's helping you to get your first deal doesn't mean you have to get a deal where you're not going to make any money. So you need to think about so many things. Yeah. So second thing is, you need to think about your credit and how you can improve it. Yeah. And who is going to be your guarantor. So those type of things, definitely really important. Now, number 3. What is number 3? Number 3 is, when people start into rent to rent, get into rent to rent, they actually, most of them, they have a 9 to 5 job. Yeah. So they have that employee's mindset, and working in your own business, as an investor, as a property entrepreneur, it's very different. So you need to really mentally prepare yourself. When you will feel down, or when you're feeling low, nobody will come to pick you up, So you need to think about all those things, that do I really have what is needed to get into property. No matter what anybody says, it's not going to be that somebody is going to serve your first property. You will serve and give you first property, on a plate. It doesn't work like that. You have to go out and look for it. And even if you're buying it from a sourcer, you need to have enough knowledge. You need to know enough that you're going to take right type of deal. So it's very, very important. And if it's not right deal, you just need to persevere. So you need to analyze yourself. You need to look at yourself very honestly, that if there is going to be any problem, or there's going to be any knockbacks, can I handle it? Because some people, they are so fragile mentally, they can't handle knockbacks. It's very difficult. And even normal people, and sometimes I feel, I remember even when I started, or even now, sometimes you have low moments. You think, oh, do I really want to do all this? So you really need to sort out your mindset. So it could be that you need to start listening right type of books or audios, or read books if you are into reading. I'm not into reading. I love listening. I love listening to, audiobooks. But anything that helps you and that motivates you, because this is the biggest challenge that I have found with, once you become self-employed, once you become, a proper full-time property person, then there is nobody there to cheer you. It's you become your own cheerleader, and there will be time when, you don't have that motivation, and you need to really motivate yourself. Hi, Nasir. So it's very, very important that you work on your mindset. Really put something in place, because now you're going to do something. You need to learn how to fight all those low moments, how to deal with, when you're feeling down or negative, how you're going to fight all those things. There's plenty help available. There are so many free audio books available on YouTube, or even books or on Audible. There's so much material available. So start working on your mindset. And especially if you've always had a job and you've never had, never done your business, it's hard. I found it hard personally, really difficult. So you need to start working on that and start preparing yourself, because you need to start thinking differently. That's another thing. Now, number 4, very, very important again. And I don't even think it's people's fault, because it's just, that's how this strategy has been advertised or, marketed. And that is, number 4 is when people, many times you hear people say, oh, it's a no money down strategy. It's not a no money down strategy. It's 100% not a no money down strategy. I want this message to get across to as many people as possible. It is a business. Treat it like a business. So you do need some investment. Okay, you may not be putting money initially if you're really lucky, landlord has given you a month free, rent free period, but then you will be investing in the property, because maybe property is in such a state that it needs some work, it needs some investment from you. So still you need to put some money into it. Yeah, so you do need to make a budget, and you need to put aside or start making a little, start putting some money aside, so you know that you are financially, or money wise, you've got enough funds now ready. So as soon as you're going to get your first deal, you've got money, for your first deal. So don't be so naive. You need to work out, okay, this is going to be my area, and this is how much properties will cost me to rent, and this is how much I need to spend on doing a bit of work on it. So these type of things you need to think about. It could be rent, it could be deposit, it could be little bit of work. So realistically, you need to think about that, have I got money? There is no such thing as like no money down. People say that, but it's not, because even if you are working in a JV, if you're not putting money, then your partner is putting money, then you need to be very careful who you are working with, because it's not quite as easy when people say, oh, we can always work in a JV, because people then tend to forget that when you're doing a JV in rent to rent, you're actually committing for a deal or to landlord for 3 to 5 years. And if you are in a JV, and for whatever reason, if situations change, and if that person, your JV partner, can't work with you anymore, or if your circumstances change, then you're still stuck, so you need to think about all those things, because JV is not the solution for it, unless it's your family member, you've grown up, or it's your spouse, your partner, your brother, you've known them for a long time, and you genuinely know that you get on really well, and you complement each other, then it's a different matter. But just because you met someone in a networking event, or just because you feel that, oh, you are short of money and you need to work with someone, never choose your JV partner like that, because I know you're going to regret. I'm just saying, because I've witnessed it so many times over and over again. So you need to then, in that case, you need to think about the budget, where you're going to arrange the money from, how much money you need. You need to have that realistic approach, because last thing I want you to do is get ready and then think, oh, I haven't got any money. I always thought it's a no money down strategy, so never ever get into this illusion. You do need some money. Obviously, it's a business, so you need to respect it that way. Obviously, you're not going to put it every time with each deal. If you've got right person who guides you, they'll tell you how to recycle your money in this business. And that's exactly what I've done as well in my own business. So, but definitely you need to work out your budget. You need to set aside some money to start this business. Respect it that way, and it's going to give you lots and lots of money back. Now, another thing, very important thing, which is number 5, that's even before you start your rent-to-rent business, you need to think about your gold mine area. Now, we use this term, gold mine area all the time in rent-to-rent. But somebody actually asked me that question, what does it mean by gold mine area? So gold mine area is nothing, it's just it is different for everybody. So my gold mine area could be different from someone else, because gold mine area is simply an area where you feel that it's well within your reach, and you feel that there is enough demand for rooms, or you feel that these are popular areas, or these are popular postcodes, or these are popular maybe what can I say, city or town, whatever, wherever you're thinking, so you need to work out on you need to actually think about your areas, because you can't just all of a sudden think, oh, I'll just start anywhere, wherever I'll get the cheapest deal, no, there is so much more to it that you need to learn. Thank you, Shirley Ann, for so many love hearts. Thank you. Hi, Naz. Thank you, Shirley Ann. I appreciate. So you need to think about you need to think about your gold mine area. So start narrowing it down. Obviously, it's down to education as well. You need to know that what type of licensing rules apply there and all that. You need to have a solid understanding, but at least work out your area for now, or few areas, which are well within your reach. So then it'll be easy for you to work out your budget as well. So for example, if you are thinking of working or starting your rent-to-rent business somewhere in up north, then maybe you can start your business with, as little as £5,000 or even less, 3,000, 2,000, depending upon where that deal is coming from. Whereas if you're starting your business somewhere in down south, then obviously you need more fund for it. So that's why it's very important that you start thinking about it. You start observing where is demand, which are good areas, and which areas are well within your reach. So you need to be very realistic. Don't rely on, this passive thing that, somebody else will manage it for you and somebody else will, because initially, ideally, yes, you do need to learn it and you need to get your hands dirty. So it's good if it's well within, and even if you're taking your property or your deal little bit further away, always think creatively, how am I going to manage it? It's not totally impossible. So if, say, for example, property is about hour and a half away, then you can travel, but then you will plan it differently. You will work out certain days in your working schedule that, okay, this is how I'm going to arrange, this is how when I can go and I can do my property up, and this is how I'm going to arrange my viewing. So for all that, you really need to work on your area. So you need to narrow it down as much as possible. Really important, because otherwise you will be like scattered brain. You'll be thinking everywhere and you'll never be able to decide where you want to, start your business. So that's another thing. That's number 5. Another thing, number 6, very, very important. You need to think about, set yourself a goal. Give yourself a time frame, how long or by how many weeks you're going to have your first rent-to-rent. When are you looking to start? So you need to have a target that, okay, I want to start my rent-to-rent. Maybe you are already ready with the funds, or maybe you've already worked out your area, or maybe you've done everything. So maybe you are ready to, start your journey from next week, maybe, or it could be that you want to start in from middle of March or end of March or whatever. So set your target, and then whatever points I've given you, work on those. So you are getting closer to actually starting your rent-to-rent business. Really, really important. Very important that you set a target. Otherwise, if you just keep it very vague, or at some point I'll start, that some point will never, that perfect moment will never happen. So best thing would be set a time frame, write it down, put it somewhere or stick it somewhere where it's visible to you. It could be on your fridge, it could be in your living area, it could be your study room or your home office, or wherever you spend maximum of your time. Or even tell your family members, this is what I'm planning to do. If you have good understanding, if you have grown up children, tell them that this is what you're doing, and they will hold you accountable for it. So very, very important. If you're thinking about it, I find this, I have seen it last 4 years of my journey. People who told me about 3.5, 4 years ago that they're going to start rent-to-rent, they're still sitting on the fence. And that's because they think, one fine day I'll wake up and I'll start. It doesn't work like that. Life does not work like that. Thank you, Shirley Ann. Thank you. This is very kind. Thank you, Nasir. Thank you, Nasir. So definitely, set a time frame, put some restrictions on yourself, and in that way you will be motivated. You will be motivated to take action towards your goal. Rent-to-rent you want to start, but do not sit on the fence forever, because things will never improve. Things will never get better. It's an illusion when people say, oh, I'll start when things get better. And I see those people, they never ever start. Never. How many times I talk to people and they say, oh, I will start. Yeah, that's quite good. I like the strategy. Everything is perfect. I like it. But one fine day, yes, when things get better, I will make a start. No, you make a start now, or set yourself a time or a limit when you're going to start. So you need to really put your affirmations, and you need to put some definite lines. You need to put a solid date there and stick to it, because then things will start happening. Things will start working in your way as well. So you definitely have to have a time frame, otherwise you'll never make a start. Very important. Now, number 7. What is number 7? Number 7, again, many people don't talk about it. Before you even start your rent-to-rent, you've narrowed down your area. Yeah. Start looking for people who will help and support you in your business, who will be part of your power team. Now, some people may say, oh, it's too early. No, it's not too early, because in a way, you're working towards your goal already. So start looking out for people. Maybe you have people around you, maybe you already have someone who's been working, who's done some handiwork in your house, or you know a good electrician, or a gas engineer, a plumber, or a handy person, like I said, or even a gardener, or even a cleaner. Start looking for people. Start looking and start putting them in a diary, because they will be then your power team. And what you can do when you haven't started yet, and still if you need some work doing in your own house, any repair work, why not try those people? Then you can test them in advance. Very, very important. I know this happened to me, because when I was first starting, nobody told me that, okay, everybody says you need to have a power team. And everybody thinks you need to have power team when you actually start. But what happened to me after 6-7 months, when I was feeling totally deflated and I wasn't really getting anywhere with my search, and nobody was giving me property, then I carried on putting offers all the time. I just took it as a challenge, and I just started putting offer. And one fine evening, this agent, he rang and he said, Sapna, do you want to take that property? It's still available. Are you still interested? And obviously I was waiting for opportunity, because I wanted someone to give me that first opportunity, so I can, I can start my rent-to-rent. And I said, yes, I will take it. I would definitely, of course, I will take it. And then it really hit me hard that, oh, I haven't even got anybody. I haven't got handy person in place. I haven't got electrician. I haven't got anybody. I haven't even got a cleaner who's going to do all this for me, and that's why, I got into this panic mode. All of a sudden, I went into this panic mode, and I thought, what am I going to do? I've been given these keys, and how am I going to handle? What am I going to do with this house? Because that house was a proper rundown house, and I didn't have a clue what I was going to do with that property, and that really shook me. But luckily, I found a handy person who helped me. But because I didn't do enough search, initially, I just picked whoever I could find, because, once you have your first property, you'll be surprised how fast things happen. Then you're really under time pressure. You need to get your property ready, because it needs to go on the market. Yeah, you need to pay your rent to the landlord. So you need to really have things ready. You need to have people ready. Or maybe if you are a handy person, or maybe you have certain skills, you need to think about, okay, these are my skills. I can leverage these skills, but do I have any family member? Do I have any friend who can also help me to set my property up? So those type of things, I think you should start thinking about well in time, well in advance. So when this happens, you're actually ready, and also you are really giving messages to the universe. You're actually telling universe that, listen, I'm all ready to receive my first property, to get my first opportunity. So definitely start getting your power team. Start looking out for people. Start putting adverts, on Gumtree, on Marketplace and places and start looking for people. When you find or spot someone, or when you're checking on even Facebook Marketplace, or even when you're checking in different Facebook groups, property groups, if somebody is suggesting someone, it's always a good idea to make a list of those type of people, because these people will be part of your power team. If you don't have a good power team, you'll not be able to grow your business, because it's not a one man's job. You need right people. You need reliable people. You either need a good family member, or a friend, or your own skills, or a good cleaner. Those type of people in place who can support your business, who can take your business to next level. I hope, guys, you are enjoying it. So I've talked about 7 things here. You're going to evaluate your own situation. That was number 1. Then we talked about that you need to look at your own credit history, your own credit file. You need to think about, who can you use as your references, as your guarantor. You also need to think about your own mindset. If you do not have an entrepreneur's mindset and you have just employee's mindset, you need to start working on it. Because when you're doing 9 to 5 job, you don't need that. You don't need that motivation, because you're just getting there because at the end of the month you're going to get that pay, salary in your bank, set amount. But now you're looking to do something daring. You want to achieve new heights. So you need to have a totally different mindset. You need to have, things in place. So, you feel lifted, boosted, because nobody will understand your journey. So that was my number 3 point. Definitely start working on your mindset. Next one was be realistic. You need money, you need budget, you need to put aside some money. Start saving up if you haven't got enough savings, or think, where can I borrow the money from? Those type of things. So be realistic. Don't think it's a money down coming from horse's mouth. Ask anybody in my group. Everybody knows, you need some money. It's a business, so treat it like a business, and then you will make money from it. Obviously you're going to accumulate that money again and again. So that's another thing. Like I said, 5th one was work out. You start looking for gold mine areas. Which areas will be good? Start developing that type of image, or not just image. Start thinking about focusing on different areas and see how much is demand. Start observing these things. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Start observing, because maybe before you've never taken any notice of these things, because you've been busy with your 9 to 5 job, or you've been busy with your bringing your kids up, or whatever you're doing. So these type of things you need to think about. Again, like I said, set yourself a time frame. Set a time frame and stick to it. If you can't even do this, you're not going to do anything. Like I said, I've seen people for last 3 years, even last year, I've spoken to so many people, and they say, we'll come back when we are ready. And they're never ready, because time is never perfect for them. So 100%, and then they check and they say, we can't do it now, you're busy, so that's fine. So these type of things you need to think about it. Again, like I said, get your power team. Start getting your power team ready. Start thinking, where am I going to get my furniture from? Start thinking, where am I going to get my cleaner from? Who is reliable? Where are the reliable people? Do you have any recommendations? Start building a list of those people. And the 8th one is the biggest bonus that I will give you. Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and get yourself a decent mentor who can actually make your life much easier. If they have already walked the walk, they will save you from doing mistakes. They will make your journey less complicated, or you will make less mistakes. You will not do costly mistakes. You will not pick wrong tenants. You'll then know what type of property you need to go for. And even with the area, you will know that okay, with the area, what type of things you should bear in mind, because there is so much more to it. And like, even if you have problems with your credit or reference on things, anything you feel is like a big hurdle with you, they will be able to guide you. They will be able to tell you the best way around it. Yeah. So definitely I would say, get yourself someone you could connect with, you could resonate with, someone who has walked the walk, and someone who can show you the path. Definitely. And 100% I believe that a good mentor can make your journey much smoother. And every time when you need that help, you want that helping person there. So 100% I would say, guys, start searching for someone who can help you with your journey as well. Start looking for recommendations as well, and that will help, because it's important that you get someone who you connect with. Really important. It's no point getting someone where people are giving recommendation but you do not feel connected with that person. You need to connect with that person, and you need to find the right type of person where, without having any boundaries, you could completely share wherever you're struggling or your challenges are, so that person can truly help you. So that will help. So that's your number 8. Before you start, get yourself a guide, get yourself a mentor, and hopefully that person, if you've got right mentor, that person will definitely help. The world is so small, you can always search, you can always look and see what they've done and see, how they're helping, so you get really good idea. So guys, these are some of the things that you should be thinking about before you start your journey. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Enjoy rest of the evening. Take care then. Bye.